Tonight we're going to be making a slow cooker chicken and sweet potato soup or chili, whatever you want to call it. I'm really excited about this one because it's got some of my favorite ingredients. I absolutely love quinoa. I love sweet potatoes. So we're excited about trying this one. So let me go over our ingredients. We've got 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. We're going to need 1 cup of quinoa uncooked, some chili mix, and I've got a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes, 1 can of black beans, and we are going to rinse and drain those. Some sweet potatoes, I think I need in total about 3 cups chopped, and some garlic, and the recipe doesn't call for an onion, but I add onion to almost everything, so I'm going to go ahead and chop one up. Alright, so I have my veggies all chopped up. I've got 3 cups of sweet potatoes, half an onion, and some garlic. So now I'm ready to start adding everything to my crock pot. I have 1 cup of quinoa, and I'm about to go rinse this off really quickly, and then I'll add it right on top. And now I'll just add in all of the veggies, and I totally forgot to take my chicken stock out. I'm gonna need 5 cups of chicken stock, so in a second I'll get that out. So now I'm just gonna add in all of my sweet potatoes, onions, and garlic. One can of fire roasted tomatoes, and I'm not gonna drain this. And 1 can of black beans. I did rinse and drain them. And 1 packet of chili seasoning. My favorite is the French's Chili-O. And lastly, we're gonna do 5 cups of chicken stock. And now we'll just stir everything around. Now, normally when I do pretty much any crock pot meal, I like to do it in the morning time and then let it cook on low all day until it's finished. But the recipe specifically says to cook this on low for 3.5 to 4.5 hours. And the reason is because the girl who made the recipe, she said that whenever she's tried to cook this on low for like 6 hours, the sweet potatoes get too soft and the quinoa cooks unevenly. So I don't want to risk that. That's why I waited till now. It's like 1 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and pop my lid on this and turn it on high for 3.5 to 4.5 hours. And we will see what it looks like when it's all done. Okay, our soup has been cooking here for just over 3 hours. I'm pretty sure the chicken is all the way cooked through, but the sweet potatoes, I want them to get a little bit softer, so I am going to let this continue to cook for another 30 to 45 minutes at least. But right now I'm going to go ahead and take out the chicken and shred it up. It's perfect timing because my husband just took the kids to the park, and man, they have been so loud today. So this is like the perfect time to go ahead and do this and share it with you. I just finished adding in all of the chicken, and it looks delicious, and I did try a bite, and I feel like it does need some salt. Remember, we didn't add any salt to this. We just used the chili seasoning packet. So I'm gonna take my salt here, if I can get it open. There we go. And it probably, in my opinion, needs about a teaspoon. So just taste yours, and you can always add more salt to it. And I think that should be good. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover this back up. Leave it on high for another 30 to 45 minutes, and then it'll be time to eat. So for this part of the video, I have to do a voiceover because something happened with my microphone when I filmed it, but that's all right. This is all of the ingredients that we're gonna need for this crock pot meal. I made a delicious Crockpot Tuscan tortellini soup with some chicken. And y'all, this was probably the best meal I've ever made in the crock pot ever. So if you try any of these recipes, it has to be this one. The first thing I'll do is add in my 1 pound of chicken breast, along with 1 tablespoon of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of pepper. Now I'll add in my small diced onion and 2 cloves of garlic, 2 cans of petite diced tomatoes, and 1 cup of heavy cream, 4 cups of chicken stock, and you know I like to use my Better Than Bouillon base, half a cup of Parmesan cheese, and now we'll just stir it together really well. We're going to cover this up and cook it on high for about 5 to 6 hours. After about 5 hours, I took out the chicken and just shredded it up with 2 forks. Then I added it right back in, along with an 18-ounce bag of tortellini. This is refrigerated, not frozen. And I just used the cheesy one, and 2 cups of fresh spinach. And after mixing it together, we're gonna cover it back up and cook it on high for 1 more hour. And it was so good. This was our absolute favorite of the week and our favorite crock pot meal ever. Today we're going to be making a crock pot hash brown casserole, and I'm making this at 1:30 in the afternoon, and I'm only going to let it cook in the crock pot on high for 2.5 to 3 hours, I believe. But you could do this in the morning and cook it on low for about 8 hours. Whoops, I forgot to show you the main ingredient. You need a bag of frozen hash browns that have been shredded. The recipe says that you could use the cubed ones, but she said that this one is much better to use the shredded. The first thing I'm gonna do is spray my crock pot with some nonstick cooking spray. So we're gonna be making layers with all of the ingredients. We're gonna start off with half of the bag of hash browns. And these are still frozen pretty much. They have been sitting on my counter for about 30 minutes, but they're basically still frozen, and that's okay. What I have here is 1 pound of breakfast sausage that I already cooked. Now you can see that there's still like little pieces of pink in there, which is totally fine because this is gonna cook for several hours. So I'm not worried about eating raw sausage or anything. But now I'm gonna put half of the sausage on top. This is half of a green onion that I finely diced, half of a red onion, and 3 green onions. I'm gonna do half of all of these now. I have 8 ounces of cheddar cheese that I just grated, so I'm gonna do half of the cheese. And now I'm just gonna repeat all of those layers. So since this is like a breakfast food, what you could do is put this in your crock pot right before you go to bed and cook it on low for 7 to 8 hours, and then when you wake up in the morning, you will have breakfast ready. All right, so we're finished with our little layers. Now we're gonna mix together 12 eggs, 1 cup of milk, some dry mustard, and salt and pepper. To my 12 eggs, here's the 1 cup of milk. My measuring spoons are dirty, so I'm just gonna eyeball about, oh, that's a big teaspoon. Take a little bit of that off. About a teaspoon of dry mustard, and then salt and pepper to taste. And finally, we'll pour the egg mixture all over the top very carefully. Okay, we're all finished, so I'm gonna cover this up and cook it on high for 2.5 to 3 hours. That has my name written all over it. Do you see the crispiness? Oh yeah. I'm excited to dig in. It's gonna be so good.